starting with my home city was smart because I did two things simultaneously as I was a broke, budding entrepreneur. I started a marketing company, online marketing, and I started a podcast for local business owners. By one, learning from them, building relationships with them, a lot of my guests didn't become clients, but they became mentors, friends, and referral partners. It got me in the door with owners and decision makers that wouldn't have spent any time with me. And since I was creating a good podcast, I had a nice website, good graphics. They could see a nibble of what the marketing company did by being on the podcast. So Ben never had to pitch services. Eventually they'd say, so what are you just like a full-time podcaster? What do you do?
Hi, I'm Zorina and welcome to the Grownlearn Podcast. Beyond these conversations, I actively connect investors with high growth opportunities. Right now, I'm working on projects seeking strategic partners, like a $346 million real estate development, a revolutionary heating technology, and an AI-driven life insurance disruptor. If you're an investor, PE firm, or family office looking for scalable ventures, let's talk. Book a call at grownlearn.org to explore these opportunities. Speaking to Ben Albert today about podcasting, about starting your life all over, specifically your professional life. He has a funny, I wouldn't say a funny, but an inspirational story to tell, how he got furloughed at the time of COVID and how he resurrected in a way.
We'll take
From
it.
zero to hero is your mantra, isn't it? Hi, Ben, welcome.
I'm excited for this conversation. I'd call my story funny, but I live with it. Like, I never imagined I'd be entrepreneurial. I never imagined I'd be a marketer. I didn't speak the first like 12 to 13 years of my life, so I never imagined I'd have a podcast. So it's funny that I've landed in the seat here today, and I'm an open book to talk about whatever you think is best for us today.
Okay, fantastic. What do you mean you didn't speak for 12, 13 years? Like
I was I
nothing?
was the quiet kid.
Ah,
I mean,
yeah.
I could speak,
Mm-hmm.
but I would more just put my head down, and my parents would be like, "He'd like a soda," and they'd be like, "Do you want a cheeseburger, Ben?" And I do a little nod. He'd like a cheeseburger. I was one of those shy, reserved kids, afraid of anything that was larger than me, which was everything at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's
So I
start
never,
with that.
yeah.
That's a huge mindset shift. What happened that made you convert to a to a speaker, to a host of 4 podcasts, and you're moderating a community? I don't know, you're doing a lot of things, all related to relationships and building communities. So what changed in you?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned relationships and building communities. I felt disconnected, quiet. I didn't have a ton of friends because I wasn't a social butterfly. I was also literally the shortest boy in my grade. So I developed I wanted to grow literally and figuratively. Because when you're an outcast when you're younger, you'll find with most top performers, they have some sort of chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove. Not everything's always handed to you. And that's where you develop that growth mindset and that want and that will to learn. So I was picking up, I didn't know what personal or growth, I was just picking up like autobiographies and personal growth books before I really knew what any of it was. And I was developing a growth mindset because I wanted to grow. And that quiet kid wanted to learn how to not be quiet. And as you get to a teenager, it's like you want to learn how to like impress girls and be the life of a party and never run out of things to say. And as you get older, you want to learn how to communicate more clearly and effectively so your team can actually have transformations. Because what's communication if the message doesn't get across? You're just speaking at a wall. So I haven't thought about it much, but it's like being small and the underdog and not the smartest person or the best athlete and not the biggest talker is actually why I started to look at studying and learning these skills. Because if your parents are outgoing and social butterflies and make great eye contact and lift everyone up, you're going to pick that up through osmosis. But my background wasn't that pretty. It was funny at times, we'll call it. And so I didn't have that natural tendency, but I was able to learn the skills. And what you find is you learn some skills, and then people are laughing and they're smiling or they're listening or your teams are performing better. And then you start realize you don't have to put on a show. You're just stepping into the person you always were. You just have more confidence to actually step into it when at one point you were quiet, muted, or maybe introverted.
Mm-hmm. I would assume that 4 years ago, at the time COVID hit, you were not that introverted still. Or what happened in between that time and now? Because you're talking about your childhood and your
Yeah.
upbringing, but what happened? Because you had a great transformation in the past 4 years. So what instigated that?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. When I was in high school, first I wanted to be a basketball player. Then I decided I wanted to be a musician. And my friend Brendan gave me my first mixtape of a bunch of like local bands that no one in the world's ever heard of. And I got hooked. And before you know it, I was handing out flyers. At the time, I was setting up MySpace pages, dating myself, then Facebook pages eventually, and websites. I was doing merch tables. I went from quiet Ben to music Ben, and I still wasn't the life of the party. But once I found a community, a tribe that I felt like I fit in, and I loved promoting and advocating for a good thing, I found my space promoting these bands. Again, I didn't even really know what marketing or promotion was. So later on, 2016 is when I started my first ever podcast. It was a music podcast. And when the pandemic hit, the music industry shut down. I lost my job in corporate. I was a sales executive. And I was applying for jobs and nothing was landing. I was an accidental entrepreneur because I had some marketing skills. I had a music podcast. I said, let's do a business podcast. We'll call it Rochester. I'm from Rochester, New York in the United States. So we'll call it Rochester Business Connections because I need some. And I got on LinkedIn. I started reaching out to SUNY Brockport. That's where I went to school. So SUNY Brockport alumni, people that went to the same university, saying, I'm starting a business podcast in Rochester, New York, highlighting local leaders. Would you like to possibly be a part of it? And
In
everyone
what
said
sense? As a
yes.
guest, or
As
how did you invite them to be a part of it?
So I was the host. I was inviting them to be a guest.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
show didn't even exist yet. But since it was to highlight our city, we both went to the same school. Let's highlight our city. I got a lot of yeses.
Mm-hmm.
And Music Ben, who was like an accidental promoter, turned into Business Ben, who was an accidental entrepreneur. And I was able to take the music promotion, the music podcast, a career in marketing and sales as a sales executive for a marketing firm, and kind of take these skill sets into entrepreneurship and not even realize like this COVID thing, which was terrible, was a blessing in disguise because that's what started my journey as an entrepreneur. And the one thing I wish I had done differently is not just wait to a pandemic to make a big decision like that. Because when it comes to starting your podcast, building your brand, helping people, getting online, whether you're in corporate and trying to move up the ladder, whether you're thinking you possibly might get a new job, so you want to build a personal brand, so you're actually higher market value to be transferred to a new company, or if you eventually want to be an entrepreneur, the best time to start is on the side now and not wait until you're broke and unemployed to get started. But that's
Mm-hmm.
how my story worked out.
Mm-hmm. You have 4 podcasts, though. How did your venture grow from 1 to 4, and why did you need that many?
I don't even technically know how many I have anymore.
Ah, you have more than 4.
Like a bazillion, but
Wow.
um, the frequency used to be 3 to 4 a week. Now we just put out one episode a week. I know in my bios it'll say like 4, 5, 6, 7 podcasts. The true way to position it is they're different segments. They're shows, but they're not all weekly shows. So to simplify, and I'm talking about me and my podcast, but anyone can apply this to their business plan. I want to create content and opportunities where for different kinds of people in different ways, because people consume content differently, people have different problems, people have different time allocation to put into investing in you. So I have Rochester podcast, which Rochester Business Connections is local. Then Learn, Speak, Teach is national, international. Those are both long form conversations. 15-minute Friday is a short form conversation. Ben's Bites is me doing a solo lesson. I joke Ben's Bites is just where I talk about whatever I want. So that's a solo lesson. It's kind of like going to a buffet. Real Talk with Grow Getters is panel discussions. And then I have Ask Me Anythings in my private community that's for members only. But since those are pre-recorded, I release those as extras on the podcast as well. So they're technically different segments and shows for different kinds of viewers. There's the local people, there's the long form, there's the short form, there's the people that just want a 5-minute nugget. And if I put out different kinds of content, just like a buffet, you get to choose your own adventure and pick up wherever you'd like.
Yeah. So as far as I understand, there are different shows within one podcast. What is the podcast called?
It's called Real Business Connections.
Picture behind
And
you. Yeah.
each show actually does have its own, they call it an RSS feed, as you know, in podcasting. So each show can be subscribed to individually,
Oh, okay. I didn't know
but
that.
90% of my listeners are just subscribed to the main feed.
Yeah.
And then the shows have nominal listenership, but it's a way just to sort each category.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems that you're doing pretty well with your podcast. What made it a successful venture for you? Because there are many podcasts and most of them actually give up after less than a year.
Yeah, the number one thing that made it a successful venture is I had just a massive level of curiosity and wanting to learn. I wanted to grow, and I've gotten better in a lot of categories. But a coach of mine, Brian Bogart, he says it all the time, there is no end destination, only constant evolution of self. And my skills are not all 10 out of 10. My speaking's not 10 out of 10. My knowledge is not 10. I'm not 10 out of 10 at anything. I'm evolving and learning every single day. So what has made it successful? Showing up is really what makes it successful. Because day one, I didn't have a ton of listeners. Now to this day, I have way more listeners, but I'm not some superstar household name either. It's showing up, being curious and willing and ready to learn. And that's more the mindset. Like, if you don't show up, you're not going to have a podcast. Like, it's part of the podcast, showing up. But strategically, I've done a lot of things, and we can go in a lot of directions. But starting with my home city was smart because I did two things simultaneously as I was a broke, budding entrepreneur. I started a marketing company, online marketing, and I started a podcast for local business owners. The online marketing company can service local business owners. So by one, learning from them, building relationships with them, a lot of my guests didn't become clients, but they became mentors, friends, and referral partners. It got me in the door with owners and decision makers that wouldn't have spent any time with me. And since I was creating a good podcast, I had a nice website, good graphics. They could see a nibble of what the marketing company did by being on the podcast. So Ben never had to pitch services. Eventually they'd say, so what are you just like a full-time podcaster? What do you do? And I'd say, well, I love the podcast. I wish I could do it full-time, but I actually have this marketing firm. So it was my way of getting in the door. And it doesn't matter if you're like a sole proprietor like I was at the time or running a big business. Who are your mentors? Who are your peers? Who are your clients or audience? If you can create a podcast, a blog, a video series, live events around those people, and open the door and let your mentors, your peers, and your target clients and audience in the door, There it is. I
Mhm.
always wanted a seat at when I was, this goes back to like young trauma stuff. I never had a seat at the table. And I found the easiest way to get a seat at the table was to bring my own table. And
Yeah,
that's what I
great
did.
metaphor. Great metaphor. Quick break. If you're looking for high growth opportunities or expert strategy support, let's talk. I'm involved in projects like a next gen biofertilizer transforming agriculture, an aerial mapping drone that's 10 times faster than traditional tech, and AI driven innovations disrupting industries. As a fractional chief strategy officer, I help businesses execute strategies and bring in top experts to get things done. Let's discuss your needs. Book a call at grownlearn.org. We briefly touched at the beginning before we started recording on the whole lead generation
Yeah.
question, and you mentioned that you're not using the podcast for lead generation, which you now explained that it works a bit differently. Um, how would you dismiss the myth for podcasters that have been told that it's a lead generator? Because I recently spoke to someone who specifically said, yeah,
Hmm.
his teaching is that it's a great lead generation machine. So how
It
does your
is.
philosophy differ?
I mean, it absolutely is a great lead generation machine. I kind of think I subtly mentioned that because, again, to simplify, I like to say plus, minus, equals. Plus is your mentors, minus is your mentees, your clients, or your audience, equals is your peers. What do your pluses do? Your mentors teach you stuff that you wouldn't have known without the podcast, which give you a higher capacity to teach your clients things. Your mentors also, if they come on your show, you're talking to them. They leave you a
Mhm.
review. They
Mm.
provide social proof, which makes it easier for anyone who knows who they are to make a decision to work with you. What do your equals, your peers do? They become thought partners. You can share ideas. They can become partnerships or referral partners. You find ways to co collaborate with each other, help each other. Again, you're generating leads, but it's not like I'm here just trying to print leads. And the last thing, your minus, that's your audience, that's your mentees, that's your clients. You can bring clients on to give real life case stories about what their experiences with you were. If you're a consultancy, you can do live consulting on the air. Like I mentioned, rebroadcast Ask Me Anythings from my community. So members that aren't in my people that aren't members of the community see what it would be like to be in the community, and so on and so forth. Or the people that are saying like podcasting is the number one lead generation tool, I think what they're doing is they're only bringing on what in this category I'm calling minuses. Minus doesn't mean anyone's below you. It's just in this cat. A minus will be my mentor in their zone of genius. People will just bring on target clients. And their entire podcast is these are my target clients. Let's just bring them on and pitch them.
Mhm.
And I'm more like, let's bring on mentors, let's bring on peers, let's also bring on people that I might be able to help target clients. But if you look at it more holistically, you create just a better product, which is your podcast. And does it generate leads?
Mhm.
I feel like I'm kind of going over that. I don't guarantee leads. I don't guarantee that you're going to start printing money. But if you develop a large network of mentors, mentees, and peers, isn't business the what comes next after that? But
Mhm.
people go in with the wrong mindset. And this is the last thing I could ramble about this all day. They're treating their podcast just for lead generation, and they're not creating a good podcast.
Mhm.
They're just trying to generate leads. They're trying to pitch their guests. Everything's salesy. It's not as good of a podcast.
Yeah.
But if you can create a good podcast, the leads come on their own.
Mhm. So in your community, what do you moderate or teach your people in your community? What is it for?
We just hang out, you know.
Are
It's
they from your city, from Rochester?
so it's national, international.
Mhm.
It's called Grow Getters Only. There's a lot in that name. It's for growth-minded go-getters.
Mhm.
People, you can grind and run really fast, but if you're running in the wrong direction, you're just going to have to turn around and run back. I found that one of our biggest expenses in life is wasting time with the wrong mentor, the wrong product, the wrong leader, the wrong company in some categories, or you're on the wrong team at your company when you'd be a better fit for a different department. It's a big expense, and the information is everywhere. You have a podcast, it's fantastic. I have a podcast. There's YouTube University where you can find just anything. There's Discords and Substacks. There's information. But for me, what I found moves the needle is more the peer-to-peer support and accountability. So the question was, how can we take growth-minded entrepreneurs, go-getters really, and get them into a place where, yeah, there's education, there's networking, there's workshops, but the real glue is the community aspect. The fact that it's peers working together, and this applies to any business. If everyone's working in silo, I work remote, my group's remote, everybody jumps on a Zoom. A lot of us work on silos. If we can find ways to come together as a team and build community and shared vision, we're just more successful business professionals in my experience.
Mhm. I have another platform that deals with mental health, success
Mm.
mindset, and stuff like that. It's a completely different area. It's not only a separate show, it's like a completely different YouTube channel. It's not a podcast. And as a part of my teachings there and interactions with experts in this field, they state that it's, you know, people can learn a lot of things, but information alone won't help them move forward because it's from a neurological perspective, it's like an elastic pulling them back to their previous mindset. So no matter what you feed them in terms of processes, practices, if nothing changes in their mindset, they would eventually go back to failure or to, the position they were previously, or maybe they would go bankrupt, or, whatever,
Yeah.
to an unsuccessful place if their mindset and neurology is not changed. Have you observed anything of what I'm describing in your community group, or do you take it from a different focal point?
You're describing the story of my life. I recently I've been traveling because I've been just waiting to travel. And I traveled to Europe. We went to Italy and Greece. And very recently I was actually in Mexico in Cancun. And Mexico's the perfect example because the water was just multicolored blue, it was vibrant, it was fun, I was relaxed, I felt zen and refreshed. And on the plane ride home, I fell asleep, I was exhausted, and I wake up mid-plane ride and I check my email and there's a client concern. And I don't even want to, I feel like I'll just be venting because there was a lot of problems to solve. And everything that had just happened in the prior week in Mexico disappeared. And the next literally 10 days of my life was putting out fires. So 2 weeks past Mexico, I forgot that I was even in Mexico. I was so stressed, miserable, like losing weight. And I don't even know what to say. Like, I can't control the fact that those fires started and that clients had concerns and we had hackers and it was a whole ordeal with the website management. It was very bad. I can't control that happened. Um, I don't even know if Mexico helped me be more centered when that happened, but I was in a really bad place and I had just got back from vacation. Or I've had scenarios in my life and in team members' lives where someone loses a loved one or gets diagnosed with a disease or is going through a breakup. And you don't just move back to zero, you get below zero so quick. And it's easy. This is why I practice gratitude every morning. It's easy to stop being grateful, to get stressed, and not just go back to baseline. You slingshot below baseline sometimes and kind of feel drained. And I think I'm turning this into a therapy session because I don't have this figured out because I'll have a great moment and then I'll have very low lows as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's where the mind control techniques come in play, and they're very useful. I recently actually had a guest who was talking specifically about such situations where you're yanked back and even below, as you say, your normal mood. So she basically said the subconscious mind, just paraphrasing, the subconscious mind has one major task. Its priority is to keep you alive. And as a child, you went through certain um, difficulties that shaped your character as you are. And she gave as an example, maybe you were a child of an alcoholic or you were brought up in a very difficult environment, but you survived. So you have a coping mechanism. And so once you're successful, you say, your subconsciousness says, I cannot deal with successful. I cannot deal with this level because although I was miserable as a child, I survived. So this is my prerogative of my subconscious mind. And that's why, unless this is programmed, it keeps coming back and back again. This is not woo-woo,
It
Ben.
sounds about right.
It's proven scientifically. It's a neurology science.
In science, it's a beautiful thing because I even talk about the chip on the shoulder. Like some of that can be like, I don't want to. It's fighting against that trauma we might have went through when we were younger. Like I'm going to be successful because they said I would never would. And what I've been working on, I don't have it perfected, is doing things because I just genuinely enjoy them and it fills my heart.
Yeah.
Where I wake up and I'm like so excited for my to-do list because one, it is helping people and building my business, but two, it's stuff I would have done just for fun in the first place. And that's the zone of creativity I've been trying to fall into. Because yeah, I've been in roles that I made good money, but I wasn't satisfied in those roles at all.
Yeah, I think you have a great way out of programming, just to put yourself in a position in a mindset of flow. It's a
Mm,
great way.
yeah.
What does your normal day look like? I know there's no one day like another, but typically, what do you do in a day?
We'll go with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays because
Okay.
that's my most typical day. Because I see a personal trainer at 9:30. So my morning and I have a strict routine. My routine changes, but The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod. Have you read that book? Heard a little bit about it?
No, but I know of the concept of having a routine in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we can go deeper if you'd like, but the short version is he creates an acronym, SAVERS, and it stands for silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing, which is writing, journaling, creative writing, those kind of things. So that's my morning. I wake up, drink a bunch of water. I do that savor, silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing, take a shower, brush my teeth, go to the gym, and that's the morning. And then the rest of the typical day is calls like this. I host my podcast, I guest on podcasts, there's the community, there's networking events, there's creating content, and the boring stuff. I wish I could just take that statement back. I was going to say the boring stuff is working on my client stuff, but I'm usually in meetings and on camera all day. So from in my time from 4 to 8 or 9, I'll be doing administrative work, video editing, training my freelancers and my virtual assistants. So it's quite a long day. I don't actually start the day until about 11 because I have my morning routine, training, then 11 till 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock I'll work. But that's every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because Friday through Monday, I still do my morning routine, but it's a lot more flexible. Sometimes I travel, sometimes I camp, sometimes I spend 2 straight days just on administrative work. So the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is my typical days, and then Friday through Monday is flex days to do whatever's required to one, have fun, but also run the business. And so far, it's working for me.
Mm. Do you want to keep it as it is, or do you have any dreams of developing it in a different direction?
I'm such like I'm like a classic workaholic in this sense. Like I wish I had more time to do more things. Because I love how it is, but I'll go to bed being like, there's like six more things I still want to do. There's so much I want to accomplish. There's so many people I want to meet. There's so many people I want to help. And there's a humility in realizing that you can't be everywhere for everyone. But if a clients, I don't miss deadlines. Like meetings, I don't miss them. I try to do my best for everyone, and that's how I've built my business. There's not enough time in the day.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to do.
Okay, fantastic. Anything else, Ben, that you would like to share? How can people reach out to you? Again, your podcast is called Real Business Connections.
Yeah, podcast is called Real Business Connections. Wherever you found this podcast, click subscribe, click thumbs up, click 5 stars, click review. Do anything to show some love here because I'm just rambling on purpose to give you time to do it. Show some love here and just type in Real Business Connections wherever you found this, or just like Google it in your search browser and you'll find me. But show some love here first. Then you can type in Real Business Connections.
Oh, thank you for the shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be here without you. So,
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Very kind of you. All right, Ben. Fantastic talking to you. Very heartful conversation. I enjoyed it. I enjoy speaking to authentic people, and it was my pleasure. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for listening to Grow and Learn. We hope that you found our podcast informative, engaging, and inspiring. Our mission is to help you keep growing and learning, and we hope that our conversations and insights have provided you with practical advice and useful perspectives. If you're looking for personalized support and guidance to help you achieve your personal or professional growth objectives, I offer a range of services to help. As a trusted management partner and mentor, I work with businesses in the process of transformation, looking for new streams of business as well as M&A. With an extensive professional network of experts and mentors, I can bring on board the right person or team based on the specific needs of the company I'm working with. To learn more about the services I offer and how I can help you achieve your goals, please visit my website at grownlearn.org. You can also reach out to me via email or social media. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this episode of Grow and Learn, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and it helps us to continue to create content that is relevant and valuable to our listeners. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights and perspectives with you in the future.